So I've been seeing this argument on social media a lot in defense of school choice. The argument goes something like this. There's a Democrat politician out there somewhere who disagrees with it and claims they care about kids. The school choice people come in and say, this person went to private school. They're a hypocrite. School choice for me, but not for thee. And people jump on the bandwagon and say, yeah, hypocrite, that's totally unfair. Except they're not a hypocrite. The actual hypocrites are the people attacking that person. And that person's generally a Democrat, and generally I wouldn't vote for them if my life depended on it, because I would disagree with them about, pretty much everything. But I have to call out a fallacy when I see one, and that's a fallacy. It's ad hominem, and here's why. School choice as it's being currently proposed is not a program that was in place when that person went to private school or was homeschooled, for that matter, if they were. That person's parents paid school taxes like everybody else. That person's parents may have even had to get financial aid, take out a loan, who knows what they had to do. But the point is they paid twice, just like you'd be paying twice if you made the choice right now to send your child to private school or to homeschool them. There's no difference. So it's not hypocrisy. They're not saying, I had something that, I don't want you to have, because you can have private school. And if what you're saying is, well, I can't afford it because I'm paying this other tax, well, their parents paid the tax too. They found a way to afford it, or it was cheaper then, or whatever. But you're still going after the wrong problem. If it's more expensive now, why is it more expensive now? What's causing it to be more expensive now? What's causing it to be harder for you to afford it now? What other things are you having to pay more for than they had to pay when their parents were paying? Gas is more expensive. Food's more expensive. We have terrible inflation. There's fewer places to work, et cetera. Wage, stagnation, whatever you want to call it. Well, who's responsible for most of those? That's right. That would be the government. So, if you want to blame that politician because they support policies that cause those problems, then by all means, please do. I wouldn't be asking for school choice if I could go afford it myself, but I can't afford it myself because of your other policies that are rapacious. I'm with you, 100%. But if your compromise is, I'm okay still taking money from the government, just moving it over here instead of to this place, you're actually engaging in the kind of socialism that politician supports. Let me explain. You do pay property taxes. Even if you rent, you pay them through your rent. Okay? And you pay other taxes probably in your state that go towards education. But I would wager that as a percentage of per pupil cost in your state, in your county, whatever, your individual contribution is but a very small percentage of that. Because if you recall, everybody pays school taxes. Everybody pays taxes that go towards education. Every business, and in fact, they pay the lion's share. They pay the lion's share. The childless, people who have their first job and just graduated college. Senior citizens on a fixed income. Everybody's paying those school taxes. That's why the per pupil cost is what it is. They're just, and they're printing money on top of that to, they're borrowing money to add to the per pupil cost. So even if they give you 90% of what the per pupil cost is, actually, especially if they do, that's a subsidy. Like I said, I would wager, unless you are in the 1% already, in which case I'd have to ask why you're not already sending your children to private school, but that's your personal choice. You still, believe me, I still don't think you should have to pay, even if you're rich, you shouldn't have to pay school tax, because I don't believe the government should be involved in education at all. So let's just get that clear. I'm on your side, okay? I'm on our side as parents, but you're getting a subsidy. You're getting a subsidy from the government. So you're really not any different from people getting EBT cards, or people getting, Medicaid, or people getting, S-chip for their kids, for their health care, or WIC, or, something else. You can say, well, I paid into it. Yeah, Social Security too. But the reason things are as expensive as they are is they're subsidized because of this government circular system. That's why they're so expensive. Look what happened to medical care after Obamacare was subsidizing people to go buy private health insurance. Not only did the private health insurance costs go up dramatically because those things came with strings attached, but also the private healthcare companies had to start charging more because of how they were being reimbursed and so forth, and all the new mandates they had, and all the people they had to take, even the high risk people. So now you can tell me, well, we're not going to have strings attached like that. This is going to be different. There are going to be fewer strings. I haven't seen that. In other words, I've seen bills that currently don't have a lot of strings attached, but they're part of because it's a law, they're subject to the political process. Because the money originates with government, it's subject to the political process. That's not going to change. It's exposed. And it will be not long at all. Like I said, go ask all those other industries how that worked out. Once you let government in the door, one toe in the door, even that Democrat politician who's currently saying they oppose school choice is going to pretend they never said that and be all over oversight regulations, and we have to give special dispensation to people of color, and we got to make sure that private schools have the right kind of bathrooms, and it won't be long before those private schools, and that's if you can find one that isn't already voluntarily woke and already voluntarily complying with state standards and other things. Good luck with that, because most of them are already well down that path. So you're assuming they're better, but it's really a faith-based belief. There's not a lot of evidence that's the case. And in many places, there aren't even enough private schools to take all the kids. So you're going to get this pile of money, and unless it's enough so that you can quit your job and stay home and homeschool, and even then, they're going to be breathing down your neck for something eventually. I promise you they are. All it's going to take is a transition from one administration to another. And that could be their rallying cry. Right now, the government is sending private subsidies to private citizens, and we don't even know what they're spending it on. We need oversight. And that will be the Democrats' rallying cry. And of course, the people whose kids didn't get into a private school rather, because they didn't pass a test or didn't get in or something. It's not fair. And these entrance exams are keeping out my kids, and I think it's racist. And, we're going to elect that same person today who's saying that they don't believe in school choice is going to be all over the school choice. They're just going to want to modify it so it benefits their constituents. This is how it works. If you stop and think about it for 5 minutes, you'll probably realize I'm right. And if your next comment is, yeah, but we still should do it, and it's going to help me right now. How many times has that been said in the past? I'm sure that Social Security helped those first recipients. They loved it, I'm sure. But how did that morph? Now the government's coming in and saying, we're going to raise the retirement age. You can't do that. You're going to pay taxes on it. Blah, 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 blah. And privatizing it is out of the question. So what used to be the responsibility of private citizens to take care of their own old age or their families to help them or whatever, people are now utterly dependent on the government. We had to put a brand new private system in place, 401k and IRAs, and guess what the government did? They came in and regulated that. And now they reserve the right to tell us what we can take out, what we can't, what's pre-tax, what's not, how much we're going to get fined if we have to touch it, even for an emergency purpose. It's our money. How much we could take out at any one time of our money. I mean, it's privately invested. Why? Because we're doing a pre-tax. So, I mean, anything that we ask the government for to give us permission to do whatever, they will find a way to sneak in strings. It's show me I'm wrong. Show me how you're going to woke proof it and government strings proof it in perpetuity. And I'll admit I'm wrong. But I still then have to ask you if you can do that. If you can woke proof it and government strings proof it, why? If you could accomplish that, if you could get government to go, you're right, we shouldn't have power over this at all, then why aren't you asking for what you really should be asking for, which is a right to opt out in the first place? And a right for your neighbors to opt out of paying for it too. Why should Duke Power, for example, pay a huge tax bill to pay for the local schools? Why? Your electric bill will go down. Why aren't you fighting for the core principle, which is government screwed it up? Government's why I want out. So why would you want them involved at all? That's all I'm trying to say. But that one argument, I had to say something because that is not an argument. They're not a hypocrite. They're being true to their principles, lousy though they might be. But they didn't get something that you're not currently getting. Level playing field here. You want to go to private school? Go. Difference is, they think it's perfectly okay to collect taxes to pay for poor kids or other kids, whatever. And I thought you didn't. I thought Republicans, I thought libertarians, I thought liberty-loving people were ultimately opposed to government telling them what they have to do. Government compels education, and government compels the paying for it, whether you're using it or not. So ask for that. No, demand that. And then I'm 100% behind you every day. Your ally. Go get them. That's what I'm fighting for. Your full parental rights. Okay? Anyway, just had to say that because people seem to be misunderstanding what I'm for or against, and I'm against government involvement in education. I'm against the government monopoly on education. I am 100% for full parental rights and taxpayer rights. I don't think the childless people should have to pay for school taxes. I don't want their subsidy. I had kids. My choice. My responsibility. And it's not such a great benefit to society if I don't take responsibility for having made that choice. The minute I try to outsource even one tiny bit of my parental responsibility, I can no longer claim the moral high ground that I'm making some giant contribution. No. I'm only making a contribution to the larger society if I take on full responsibility for the lives that I have put on this planet. Only then. Only then. Those are my values. Your mileage may vary.